Disclaimer, people of the internet. All jokes and opinions in this video is not fact. I'm fully aware of other opinions. And if I say something bad about something you like, don't take it as fact. You're allowed to like what you like. Anyway, please enjoy the video.
Hi, the name's Tato. I read things inaccurately, and it's time for me to go deeper into the world of Helluva Boss. I'm not even going to lie, the second half of Helluva Boss is probably one of my favorite parts of the show, and arguably, I think, the best part of the show entirely. I think Ipsy truly goes all in with her ideas and themes of her previous episodes and plot points, because in these 3 episodes we have brand new things being introduced that explains what those previous plot points were building up to, as well as consequence for those previous actions and plot points. And I simply cannot wait to tell you all about my thoughts, theories, and what I've noticed while I review the second half. As well, I will also be giving my personal ranking of all the songs in the show by the end of the video, so stick around for that as well. So, also, there was this tweet by Vipsy saying that they're skipping episode 8 and moving on to season 2 immediately, and that episode 8 will release some other time. I don't know why. People say it's for copyright reasons. Use your own research, because I couldn't really find anything on the matter myself, so sorry about that. But regardless, let's get to it. This is the amazing, tragic, and interesting Helluva Boss, episode 5 to 7. Episode 5, The Harvest Moon Festival. This episode to me is a very interesting episode for a lot of reasons, which I will get into once those reasons come up. I am a big fan of the setting as well as some parts of the animation in this episode, as it has some really nice shots and really gives me a better idea of how imps work in the Helluva Boss world, which we also do get a look into by a very cool snake cowboy a bit later. Anyway, the episode starts with sexy times between Blitz and Stolas, who says it has to be cut short due to Stolas needing to attend to a festival, that being the Harvest Moon Festival. Blitz questions why the grimoire is important, as he needs it for his clients, but Stolas surely confirms that he needs it because it's an annual prince duty thing. And in his words,
my grimoire is actually incredibly important, and it isn't supposed to be lent out to itty-bitty imps like yourself.
Blitz states that Raph is where Moxie and Millie are from, and Stolas is very excited and invites them for fun, which is something I find interesting, as this episode then mirrors what happened in Lululand, with Stolas inviting them over to do something. However, Blitz points out they weren't the best bodyguards last time, but Stolas feels quite safe there, so he says it will just be for fun. Blitz agrees, as his job is quite dependent on the grimoire anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry your clients will have to wait.
Oh, fuck my clients.
As funny as that clip is, it makes me wonder how good of a boss he is and where Blitz's priorities lie. Probably at horses. After giving Moxie a call, asking him to join, Millie quickly shows her Raph spirit, as well as referencing the pilot by showing us Blitz was calling from inside the house the whole time and was hanging from the roof. As funny as a reference that is to the pilot, it also makes you see how obsessed Blitz is with Moxie and Millie's relationship, which I like because as much as the humor really works, for those who really look at it, there is a deeper meaning and context behind what Blitz is doing, which makes Blitz a bit more than just a funny character, but more on that later. The team then goes to Texas. Then they go to the Raph Ring, and we are introduced to Millie's parents, played by Sujuan Chase as the mother and Edward Bosco as the father, who you might know as this character for fans of Fastman Hotel. We get some nice catching up with the parents. Also, Blitz has another protective dad moment with Luna, which I like that they're able to keep that continuity without making it too bland or annoying. Then things turn once Millie brings Moxie over to the parents, and a very familiar trope plays out.
Greetings, Lynn. Joe? How have you been with all the flaming twisters and stuff around here?
We lost our old farmhand to one of them terrors last week.
oh, crumbs. My bad. I am so sorry.
To quickly explain what I mean, very often in the show with a couple or a romance story, there is either a very welcoming greeting with the parents of the love interest or the opposite, which we see here. It's sort of been played out over and over again in other shows, and it's fine, I have no big problem with it, but mainly that it sort of feels, in a way, not as interesting and creative as what you could have done with this relationship with Moxie and the parents of Millie. Again, I don't have a problem with this approach, but it's not perhaps what I was expecting from Helluva Boss at least. But at the same time, it does do something different while seemingly playing out the trope like always. That being for the new character we meet in this episode.
Y'all should meet our newest help. Hey, Striker!
Well, howdy.
We are introduced to Stryker, played by none other than Norman effin' Reedus, and he is by far the best part of this episode. His design, his voice, and the way he's written is both really stereotypical badass cowboy, as well as being a badass cowboy. He's a character that feels like a stereotype, while as well feeling like his own character. To bring in my point from earlier, in the trope of meeting the parents in other shows, there's always this new, stronger, and tougher male or female character, which is either really nice and just doing what that character does, or trying to get our boy's girl or girl's boy. You get what I mean. Our little first meeting with Stryker is like this.
Oh, looky here. You must be the famous Mildred. Heard some good things about you from your folks, little lady.
Oh.
However, as we learn later in this episode, Stryker is his own character. While he is presented to be stereotypical, it is done for a reason. Something to point out is that Stryker seems very interested in Blitz. He compliments his line of work, and also for some reason asks about him and Stolas.
That's pretty impressive, sir.
Oh.
So you even conned that ditzy blue blood into getting you to the surface?
Well, it's long and complicated, but the short answer is yes. But he's not like, you know, we're not doing what's between, it's a transactional fucking, you see.
Which to me, on my first viewing of this episode, left me rather curious, and now that I'm seeing it again, makes a lot more sense. Anyway, Paul suggests that they should join in on something called the Pain Games, and Blitz is overly excited to join in. It is explained that essentially the challenge is to be the strongest in RAF. After Millie mentions that she isn't allowed to play, Moxie then tries to smoothly join in, but is told that he doesn't really look the part. After proclaiming he is, Moxie is then challenged to take down this sort of health pick by Stryker, which of course he fails at, but Stryker in all his cowboy glory absolutely murders. After being asked to skin the pig, Blitz and the others head inside while Moxie and Millie stay outside, with Millie reassuring him that her parents eventually will come to respect him. However, with enough sass from Sally Mae, Moxie's determined and set in on joining the Pain Games. We cut to a stage and Wacky Wally is back once more. Stola soon takes the stage and is shown to not even be able to control himself in front of a live audience.
Good luck to you all, especially that sexy little one there. Yoo-hoo, Blitzy.
Ah, fuck me.
A gun is fired and the games begin. And it is really just a really fun montage of various challenges of usually Stryker and Blitz competing with Moxie behind losing, while always being pursued by this shark, and it just keeps coming back no matter what. In general, is a nice fun way to show the RAF Ring's culture. Like, I really feel what tone and feeling the RAF Ring is trying to set, and I absolutely love the approach. After the games, the winners are Stryker and Blitz, making it a tie. Moxie sits away in the audience and grumbles to himself. But hey, at least he's the better singer.
I'd like to take this opportunity to sing a quick song I wrote just now about me winning.
With that, Stryker sings the song of this episode, Sweet Victory. And what I will say is that it's a good song, but it can really be toned down to fuck you, I'm better, which in some aspect is part of the lyrics as well.
Go fuck yourself.
Soon Blitz comes over and joins Moxie and Millie, and then soon informs Moxie that he's asked Stryker if he wants to work at IMP, which leaves Moxie feeling at a loss for words, and also Stryker then tells him to go off himself, which becomes a bit too much for him, so he walks off. After briefly showing us Blitz admiring Stryker's horse, we cut to Moxie seeing something off in Stryker's room, and this is where we get a shocking reveal. Moxie finds a very special kind of rifle, which Moxie wonders how he even could get. Stryker then stands in the doorway, and his character becomes a lot more sinister and serious. We also learn that this rifle can kill demon royalty, which would mean he is there to kill Stolas. And Stryker, knowing Moxie is smart enough to figure this out, then attacks him and attempts to kill him. This is what I meant by this trope is played out, but in a different way. As at least when I saw this episode, I didn't expect Stryker to be this kind of character, but it makes sense. And I love that Stryker kept all of what he learned about Moxie in mind. All I was left wondering while he was attacking Moxie was, why is he going to kill Stolas, and how did he even get such a high-class weapon? After all, he is an imp, so he shouldn't have such connections. With this happening, I was truly on the edge of my seat, and Moxie is shown yet again he isn't strong enough to beat Stryker. And I thought this was it for Moxie. Until...
Pathetic.
Millie again questions who really is the strongest character in the show and halts Stryker's attack. But somehow Stryker just tanks through it and takes the two to a basement and leaves them, simply stating they aren't worth the cleanup. If that's not badass and terrifying, then I don't know what is, and then locks them in. Millie, having her leg injured by a bear trap, gives Moxie a quick wake-up call, and Moxie shoots his way out. Wait, Did you mean to tell me that Stryker forgot to empty their pocket? After some great animation of Stolas cursing the lands with the harvest moon. I mean, seriously, look at this fucking Stryker is ready to shoot and take out the prince, but is stopped by Blitz as we get this scene.
Blitz, come on. You know the two of us are superior than most of our kind. And you were so above sucking on a disgusting, rich, pompous Goetia, only to sneak topside for scraps and work for bitter sinners who could care less who you are, when you could be slaying overlords. Why struggle to run a business that is rigged against you, when you could partner up with me and kill the unkillable? Starting with the one that treats you like a plaything.
I was in absolute awe watching this scene. Stryker truly digs and gets underneath Blitz's skin. And remember how in the start of this episode he asked about Blitz to Stolas' relationship? Well, this might not be completely right, but after he asked Blitz about Stolas, you can often see he looks at Blitz, and I think Stryker saw a use in him, as well as pointing out that he indeed works in a system that is rigged against him, while Stryker aims not to bend under this rigged system. He also fought against Blitz in the Pain Games, so Stryker knows exactly how to keep Blitz in control, both physically and mentally. Stryker in this scene truly shows us the viewer how smart and manipulative he really is. Blitz is taken by Stryker's words, and he accepts his deal, before Moxie shows up to put Stryker at gunpoint. The truly amazing fight scene plays out where it's more physical than usual, which I think is a good touch. It has mainly been guns that have been used in fights so far up to this point in the series, and I really like the change of pace. I also really like that Luna simply sighs in disappointment after Blitz calls for her, and she just knows her dad has gotten into some trouble as usual. Just a great touch. The fight continues and Blitz and Moxie has Stryker cornered. As Stryker tries to win over Blitz again, Moxie stops him and he gets a fucking badass line.
Weak little.
You gonna finish that fucking sentence, partner?
Vermin.
Who's weak now, bitch?
Of course, Luna comes in with really bad timing and stops Moxie, and Stryker escapes to fight on another day. Moxie gets another moment with the parents backing up for Millie for not having killed Stryker, where, surprisingly enough, he sort of gets past respect. We then cut to a motel where Stryker talks to the woman who hired him, which is none other than frickin' Stella, Stolas' wife, and the episode then ends with Stryker saying he'll get him next time as he chuckles himself in the darkness. And what a twist and an amazing episode! I will say that despite its sort of weird romance trope in the first half, the episode truly gets going and gets into its greatness of its themes and reveals in the second half. It also left me wondering if the assassins in episode 2 were also hired by Stella, because if you watch episode 2 again, none of the assassins really go for Octavia, they only go for Stolas. I absolutely love Stryker's character, as he in a lot of ways is just the opposite, or in many ways a darker version of Blitz's character, and I do hope to see more of him in season 2. But for now, on to the next episode. Episode 6, Truth Seekers. Okay, so this episode is really good, and 22 minutes long, being the longest in season 1, and it has amazing moments of both animation as well as character development. There is simply one singular problem I have with this episode. Or two, I guess. That being Agent 1 and Agent 2. Their characters to me in some ways feels a bit inconsistent, and due to that fact they just feel kind of unfunny, and I'll try to explain my reasons once we get to them. Other than that though, probably the best episode of season 1 to the community, but to me, it's just about underneath the number 1 spot. Anyway, the episode begins with Agent 1 and 2 answering my biggest complaint of episode 3 and the continuity. They have been seen before, which leaves me curious for how long, and hell, in the pilot, both 1, show themselves to a doctor, and 2, reveal themselves on live news. I don't know how long IMP has been a thing, but since Luna says all this time, I can only imagine some scenes from the pilot have happened, or not, I don't know. Which, like, thank you so much for clarifying, and also puts a danger to IMP, because who knows, if people believe these two, which I doubt, this could pose as a threat to the business, or even all of hell. Agent 1 and 2 are then brought in, and they are all right now, and posing as rather interesting characters before Blitz interrupts them in a comedic style, and once we are with the gang, the comedy truly feels amazing, as Moxie and Blitz are just hilarious here, and I don't really know why. Sadly, they are then caught. Blitz then tells Luna to close the portal, and Millie gets left on the other side. First mistake. And Moxie is then tranquilized, leading Blitz and Moxie to run away, and then they get captured by these two.
I'd like to see the suits that corporate Colonus loses now. That was pretty badass. Super badass.
Like, how? Millie is left enraged and quickly tells Luna to get that portal open ASAP. And we cut back to Blitz and Moxie, who is getting interrogated about their business. This scene is absolutely great in humor, but this is when 1 and 2 goes from interesting characters to just funny gag characters. In this scene, they just seem to turn into complete jokes. To me, it feels like Vivsy didn't really know how to really use them, either to be like interesting or funny. But I will say that they make for absolutely hilarious characters to laugh at, even though I don't think that's what they were intended to be. Also, if you like 1 and 2, that is not an issue, and please explain things that I may have missed in the comments.
Hey, aren't we gonna get our phone call, bitch?
Well, that entirely depends. Who are you gonna call?
Your fat mom, taking her for a fat time.
Nice try, demon. His fat mom is dead!
Best joke in the whole show. Anyway, Luna and Millie finally break into DHORKS, I suppose that's their HQ, and sneak around before they are spotted, with the funniest reaction after someone spits coffee at someone. They fight some guards with both great animation and to great music before we cut back to Blitz and Moxie. The agents leave the room and Blitzy and Moxie keep their heads cool and decide to keep playing with the agents, while the agent can play games too, and decide to fill the room with truth gas. Certain things are revealed.
Just ask me something specific I wouldn't normally tell you.
Okay, does Millie ever peg you?
Sometimes. Wait! Ew! Fuck! Why that?
The two get angry, and after some truth bombs, they have a bit of a breakdown until they are hit with so much gas it brings us into this episode's song or musical number. And let's be honest, the best part of this episode. Not only a stunning looking scene on both parts, but the music is great, and I love the fact we are shown Blitz and Moxie's deepest secrets get revealed, as well as learn about both characters from their own perspectives. Moxie, being the bigger man, is shown proper, finally standing up to Blitz and tells Blitz, interestingly enough, that eventually Blitz will just end up alone if he keeps ignoring his toxic self like he is doing now. Also, in Moxie's point of view, Blitz is shown dressed nicely and speaking with a fine or British accent, which I see as regardless of how Moxie has a problem with Blitz, he still sees him as a person and as someone of equal or even higher level than himself. But to not just talk about Moxie's point of view, we also see Blitz's point of view, and it's rough and rather disgusting in comparison. I love the way this Culver slime just gets all over Blitz like mud in a way. Soon he sees a hallucination version of Moxie, and the way he sees Moxie is very different and rather interesting. Appearing as a sketching and very simply drawn being, as if drawn by a child, he also thinks it's hard to understand Moxie. Moxie, in an over-the-top British accent, explains to Blitz he is simply talking normal English. As I assume Moxie has talked the same way as always done, this could mean Blitz has a difficulty understanding simple things or certain words that Moxie is saying, which will explain this instance in episode 3 when Moxie is speaking to Blitz and it pans in on his face and an overwhelming sound is played drowning Moxie's voice out. It may be because Blitz is trying to ignore it because he finds it difficult to speak to Moxie. Blitz exclaims he doesn't need Moxie or anyone and he can just do very fine on his own, before a mud-like striker appears, throwing him to the ground saying he doesn't want to do things alone. Blitz is then grabbed by a mud-like Fissurali, saying that he once tried to do a solo act, and that didn't work out so well. Before then being thrown into the ground again, to be approached by a mud Ferocica, saying that he pushes people away who get too close until all they do is resent him for being a selfish person. All of these three figures say something interesting and explain some of Blitz's choices as well as some of the things he's done before this episode. Mud Striker saying he doesn't like being alone is shown through all the times he invades Moxie and Millie's personal life. However, what Mud Fist says seems to hint that he tried to do a solo act or do something before alone, which it didn't go well. A previous IMP-like business? A clown act, maybe? Mud Verosca's words explains why he treats Stolas and Moxie so differently from Luna and Millie. He is simply scared once people are too close to him, like with Stolas, who he simply treats as some way to keep the business going, and Moxie is just a worker, because he is scared that they will just see him as selfish or differently than before due to them getting too close, which is why he's so toxic towards Moxie. All of this is great to see and makes us as viewers understand Blitz a lot more now. After all of that, a hallucination of Stolas with bright lights appears and asks if he's afraid to love people, and judging by all of what we are shown here, it's fair to assume so. Blitz is then dragged up by Change up to Stolas, who looks at him like a toy, and I'm unsure, but it doesn't seem like Blitz likes this. And this is how he truly sees Stolas after all, simply as a master, holding the chains. Fake Moxie appears again and explains how it seems like he wants intimacy, but also hates it due to his fear, which he and me finds quite tragic due to how he treats people. After that, he yells at Fake Moxie to just shut up, and then both Fake Moxie and Stolas disappears. Some feathers appear and wraps around Blitz, who make him look like he's at the front of some death metal album. This just looks awesome in my opinion. Things clear up in the drug worlds, and they both finally wake up. The gas finally fades from the room, and both exchange some real talk for a bit. Blitz gives him some acknowledgement and is proud of him, and Moxie saying thanks, Blitz, just brings a smile to my face. Both Millie and Luna come crashing down through the roof, and Moxie and Blitz are happy to see her. But Blitz, of course, being a worried dad, starts stressing the fuck up because he sees Luna there. Agent 1 then sets off the alarm, and all of the guards in the building rushes in, and what ensues is 3 minutes of amazing action, showing with impressive animation how each member of IMP kills their targets on the field. These 3 minutes of just fighting are great to watch, and it's impressive that an indie studio alone is able to produce scenes like this. However, one hits legit the big red button and closes down the facility. Luna would portal them out, but...
Shit, I can't read the spell in this light. I can't see dick.
So, seeing that they are trapped, all is lost. Or is it?
Who dare threaten my impish little plaything? Who said that?
Agent who?
What's the matter, Demon Hunter?
Never seen a real demon before.
Okay, so after truly the best summoning of any character ever, Stolas arrives to remind everyone to please remember episode 3! As he's angry that they got caught by humans, and if people in hell found out, that means not only IMP gets in trouble, but Stolas also gets very much in trouble. Stolas then takes them all back to hell with a very intense Blitz and Stolas moment, and with that, the episode ends.
So what now?
What now? We finally got the evidence we needed to be taken seriously.
Oh. Never mind. With amazing scenes, character moments plenty, and another great twist, what is there not to like? Besides how characters 1 and 2 feel a bit all over the place, I still very much enjoyed their humor here and there, and I guess they are pretty funny. Their ending is cool and does leave me curious as to where this plot point will go in Season 2, however. Also, I want to share a theory. You see, I believe in Season 2 we will be shown that Blitz and Fizzarali are brothers. Now hear me out. And it's because of their previous dynamic, and there's a lot of past between them with a lot of hatred. So maybe Fizz took Blitz's spot in the circus, or maybe they also just were friends, who knows. It would not surprise me if they were brothers though. I fucking called it! Also, I'm curious as to what else happened in Blitz's past, and what inspired his fears and insecurities, which I hope to see in Season 2. Regardless, this is an amazing episode. And now, on to Episode 7, Aussies. My #1 favorite episode of this entire show. The final episode of Season 1, even though planned to be a two-parter, is still, in my opinion, the best episode this show has to offer. Everything comes down for Blitz in this episode. He finally gets consequences for his actions back at Lululand. Stolas also is getting his consequences for his actions, as my two favorite characters get into a tight squeeze and are questioned for their actions, before all coming down in a climax, and we wonder how things are between them after. So let's just get right into it. The episode starts right off the bat after a mission, which leaves Millie looking like this and Moxie holding a chainsaw. What target had them like that? I want to see just an episode of the build-up to the start of this one. Like, I'm already asking questions before we even started. Everyone is in a great mood, and Moxie is about to ask Millie on a hangout, but is interrupted by Blitz with an invitation, or forced invitation night out with drinks. Moxie stops him, saying that him and Millie are having their 1-year anniversary, and he's taking Millie to none other than the best place in all of the Lustring, Aussies. And the two are very excited. Perhaps a bit too excited, but Blitz, feeling third wheel, decides to get on with them, but Moxie says no. Like, truly spells it out for him that he's not welcome there, and it is only for him and Millie alone. But this is Blitz we're talking about. He will try anything to get his way in between Moxie and Millie. Anyway, Blitz leaves. Moxie and Millie have a moment, and we cut to the train station, which reminds me a lot of the Happy Hotels, with the same type of architecture as there are apples everywhere, and clearly is designed by Lucifer. Also, it has the same kind of color scheme, so it's not too crazy to assume that this is designed by Lucifer. Also, it's a train station, so it would make sense the big man designed this place, which, you know, connects the two pieces together. Aspen Hotel and Helluva Boss.
Elevator 666, departing for Lust in 5 minutes.
The fact, 1, the elevator is 666, and 2, the announcer said the time like that has me curious about how she says other place in hell. Will she, like, say it aggressively when they go to Wrath, or like really prideful when they go to Pride? Anyway, Eminem walk around while Blitz is behind them watching from afar and calls Luna, telling her that he will be late as he has something important to do. Also, I am curious for lore purposes why the exterminators are present on the newspaper and what exactly goes down in the Pride Ring where Aspen Hotel takes place. Is this an indicator that this happened right after the pilot? I don't know, I just wanted to mention it. We are then shown Aussies and sort of what the Lust Ring looks like. Also, at the top of the building is a tent, which is an early indicator of who really is inside this building and who we will meet later. Moxie and Millie walk into the place, no problem. However, Blitz tries to sneak in and he is stopped by this guard who says if you ain't a couple, there is no entry. And Blitz then does this.
You know, you have really nice eyes, Daddy.
Which is just so funny to me. Also, Angel does reference up there on the wall. With no way in, Blitz has to get creative and gets an idea as to how he could possibly get in. We are then thrown over to see what his plan is, and we see Stolas. And it's rather sad the situation he's in. Living a lonely life inside his ginormous palace, no wife, and no child around him. Not even any butlers, it seems. It's just him inside this palace alone. Stolas proceeds to do the most relatable thing ever, of then eating cereal while watching soap operas.
Why won't you love me, Alejandro?
That's a mood, Gabriella.
Before getting called by Blitz giving us this great image, in a hurry he answers the phone to see what his darling wants. And well, Blitz calls asking him if he simply wants to come to a club so he can see Moxie Millie, but for Stolas, he... well...
Are you asking me on a date, Blitzy?
Thinks they are going on their first date, and Blitz sort of says yes, and Stolas, being madly in love, fully dresses up, applies makeup, even taking inspiration from Gabriella, and shows up in style. They start walking to the entrance, and you can already tell that Blitz is not even remotely interested in Stolas. Stolas then makes them enter, and the bouncer is also genuinely surprised to see the Prince of Ars Goetia with an imp, which I love the detail of. Inside, Stolas says truly what we all think of this club.
Oh my.
Oh, no. No, but yes.
And the two get themselves a table, and already things feels very awkward. And not only awkward, but this scene makes Blitz truly feel like a true piece of shit. The thing is, before you never really thought of their relationship, but seeing it a bit closer here shows how terrible Blitz is. But due to episode 6, we can guess that he is afraid of Stolas turning to hate him, so why even risk getting in and getting close? Stolas too, as shown, simply loves Blitz a lot for some reason, and regardless of what's happening now, still tries to talk to him. It's for this reason, in my opinion, that I think this little scene between Blitz and Stolas is simply filled to the brim with details to these characters, and it offers so much. And to be honest, I do think Stolas is a good thing for Blitz, but Blitz simply is too afraid of his fears and his insecurities. There isn't much shown here, but a lot is felt, and that to me is what I love about this episode. After Blitz is asked again why he brought Stolas here, they are interrupted by a familiar and unroboticized Fitzgerald. That is right, the real one is here and he is back, and he is as stretchy and full of life as he can be. Perhaps a bit too full of life, and he makes quite the entrance with great voice work as always from Alex Brightman. And as soon as Blitz sees him, he is filled with fear, hiding behind the menu, which shows up unlike the robot versions. Blitz is scared of the real Fizz. Parisians? Unknown. Fizz then explains that he has quite the number of replicas around hell, meaning he is quite the icon from Lust. Perhaps maybe he is popular, or as popular, or even more popular than Angel Dust. I don't know, would make sense if they knew each other though. His reasons for his arms and legs, however, are more for other purposes here though, compared to his more entertainment side with his replicas. Anyway, he introduces a lineup of different performances we are going to see by Veronica, who is back, and the Squirters, which I just thought was a really funny name. And then Fizz kindly reminds us of what happened back at Lululand and shows he is quite displeased with what has happened there and quite looking to sue. I love this. Not only do we have Blitz getting into a tight squeeze with Stolas, but on top of that, the whole plot of episode 2 is here to bite him in the ass. I'm gonna say that I don't hate Blitz, and I don't just love this because, oh, it's finally coming down on him and stuff. I like this because finally previous plot points gets brought back and are explored again. I also love that we also feel with Blitz here, as he can't just leave without getting seen, and even then, it's only a matter of time until eventually Fizz will see them, and the stakes are high, to say the least. Fizz then announces the opening act with Moxie, who is there to sing. Mainly for Millie, of course, as he takes us into the best song of the show. With absolutely touching lyrics, this song truly makes us see, one, how adorable these two little imps are together, and how much they love each other. And then two, how much these two don't fit in with the lustring and hell itself. They are loving and lustful like every other imp, however they seem to do it way more for actual love, and that in itself, at least definitely shown here in this club, is it's truly a taboo in this place. Which, even if it isn't the focus, is something to think about, as is this really something that could stay in the Helluva Boss world? Well, Asmodeus, played by another Broadway musical actor, James Monroe Iglehart, and Fizz is here to tell them how they feel about them in their song, House of Asmodeus. With the two having booming voices, we are introduced to the ruler of lust himself. And not only is he gigantic, but also sports the coolest character design in this show. The two sing about lust, and as much as this just feels like a cool song that is also catchy, it is also the two challenging Moxie to show them his true colors. This place isn't for usual couples and lovebirds, and they ain't having him and Millie's stick ruining their vibe, asking him again and again to show them his true side. But Moxie and Millie are really like that. They are loving and caring, and what do? They make fun of him for it while the song keeps going. Unlike Truth Seekers that have more to show us than to sing to us, this song has both, with amazing shots of Fizz and Aussie, as well as telling us all the problems through song about Moxie and Millie's relationship. Eventually, however, Blitz steps up for Moxie and is trying to be a good friend, and that's when Fizz sees him and really digs into him, asking him how he dares comment about a relationship, seeing where he is in his love life. And Veronica too joins in and mocking him and belittling Blitz, which he deserves, but it hurts to see Blitz being attacked like this, and being backed into a corner. Seeing it all come down for Blitz, it really hits hard, and no one even backs him up. Before we even get a second to relax, Stolas is spotted by Asmodeus, and Aussie is intrigued. He walks over, mocking him too for what he's done, and really reminds him that this imp is what you sold your life for. Just for him. He had a wife, a kid, and gave it all away just for what Aussie says. Simply a one-night stand. Stolas, ashamed, hides behind the menu, and Aussie and Fizz are about to finish their song until Millie stops them to let Moxie finish his song to her. And the moment is really sweet, with them sharing a loving kiss. A true kiss. And all of that was in one song. This is what I wish Truth Seekers would have done for their musical numbers. In this long musical number, our main character is brought to his lowest point and embarrassed in front of everyone. While this place is a place of desires, Mox and Millie still share their own desire, their own gentle love for each other. God, this episode's fucking amazing! We then cut to Stolas looking over at the couple, and then he turns back to Blitz, reaching out to him, understanding finally what Blitz really wants isn't all that what they have done, but the real love and comfort. However, Blitz takes his hand away and asks to leave. Stolas agrees, and both leave in total defeat.
Oh, ain't that just such a happy display? It sickens me. Get the fuck out.
It's still good to know that the humor is somewhat still here. With that, we are then shown Blitz taking Stolas home as we get this scene.
Thank you for inviting me out tonight. Despite everything that's happened, I enjoyed spending time with you.
Yeah.
You know, I have some more wine in the house. Octavia's with her mother this weekend, so we could.
I'm not fucking you tonight, okay? I'm really just... I'm really not in the mood, Stolas.
Here it truly comes down for the two. Stolas trying to simply pretend like nothing, invites him in, but Blitz isn't having it, denying him at every turn, as well as telling him that he doesn't want him to pretend what they have is more than Stolas just wanting him for pleasures. Stolas, seeing he is truly at a loss, simply says good night, and then Blitz drives off, leaving Stolas there at the steps to be alone, yet again returning to the home he created for himself. An empty palace with a heartbroken ruler. What strikes me in this scene truly is that we truly see a heartbroken and defeated Blitz. You can tell he is scared and pushed far beyond his limits. Stola also uses his name right, calling him Blitz and not Blitzy, showing that he gets how serious things are. Usually in a love story, this would get resolved and would just be passed on like nothing, and then things would be made up. But Vivcy shows us that certain things can't be fixed or work. Like Stolas and Blitz, as they just seem to truly never get what they really want. Blitz, someone who really loves him and won't hurt him, and Stolas, a lover that he chose and not a forced one. And if you ask me, Stella probably was that. A lover he didn't choose. Editor Tato again saying, I was wrong! What a truly sad scene for them to end it off of on this season for these two characters. The episode ends with Blitz going home as we see his home for the first time ever, seeing pictures of him with Millie, Luna, and Moxie, but in every single picture, Blitz is scratched out. With Luna leaving a note saying that she's gone to a party, Blitz sighs, laying down on the couch, browsing through his pictures, but he stops once he sees a very specific photo. And with that, Season 1 of Helluva Boss ends on a rather sad note for this comedy series. It's a true and great finish, and how it should end if you ask me. With all the loose threads and plot points it had come to an end, while still leaving us with a few questions for the future. The season left me satisfied, while still wanting more, which I knew I would get eventually. With it all coming neatly finished in a nice package, I will say that this is an amazing finale with 3 amazing episodes. Vivcy, I have to say that even if it isn't the two-parter that it was supposed to be, it is a true, strong finish for Season 1. Now, before we get into the conclusion, we shall rate all of the Helluva Boss songs and find out what is the true bops of this show. Alright, first song, the Immediate Murder Professionals jingle. What do I think about it? We all know we all think about it. It's a true bop. I mean, how can you not call this thing a true bop? It is full to the song, it explains the show, it's great, full to the bop, good. I like listening to it here and there even myself. It's good, it's nice, it's a good one. Good song, true bop. Next up we have, I think it's You Will Be Okay, and I'm gonna put this on It's Great. The reason it doesn't get true bop is just because you don't go listening to it all the time, but in terms of like, when you look at this in the show, my god, what a spectacle. It had me legit like, my point is just, it is an amazing musical number, it is an amazing song, and the animation in that scene is just, it's godly, it's amazing. Not a bop fully, but it's gonna go on, it's great. It's just simply an amazing thing. Not something I would sing all the time, but I would listen to it and watch the scene over and over again. Lululand. And Lululand is definitely in the range of being a really catchy song, but it's for that reason that is so goddamn catchy that it just gets stuck in your head, and for that, it kind of gets annoying. The first time that, or like the time that I recorded the first review, I had this song stuck in my head on repeat over and over and over again. It's so... it just keeps going over and over in your head, and it's like, it's good and stuff, but it just, due to the fact that it's so catchy and you get in your head, it just gets so annoying. So it's gonna go on to, it's okay, it's okay. And you know what? Feel free to roast me in the comments for this one. I'm just saying it's okay. It just gets annoying once you have it in your head for the 500th time. Vacay to Bone Town. Enough said. The Cherub song, I'm saying that this gets an eh. It's just the Cherub jingle, and it's just kind of... We've already had this with IMP, we don't need this with Cherub. Cherub is just eh. It's a meh. It's going on eh. Complete eh song. Sweet Victory by Striker. What is there to say about the song, except for it, as I said in the review, it's literally fuck you, I'm better. It's... It's, I guess, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good song, I'm not gonna lie. You know, it gives off the Striker vibes, it's a good song and stuff, but it's kind of, again, it's just, fuck you, I'm better. It's nothing really else to it, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just gonna put this simply on, it's okay. It's a completely okay song. Not great, just, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Alright, and next we have Moxie's Bad Trip. There are two of these, apparently they count the Blitz version as well as another musical number part, even though it's not really a musical. It's a bit too long for me, and due to that you have two perspectives. It's great for a story, like a story perspective, but like in terms of music, it doesn't really flow well. Like you have this great musical like rhythm, and Moxie sings great like with his vocal, like it's good, it's good. But then you cut to like Blitz, and it's more for story purposes. It's pretty Moxie's part is pretty great. But I'm gonna say that Blitz's part, it's not really that good for a song, it's not really a bop. I'm gonna put this on... It's okay. It's simply okay. I'm sorry to say, Blitz, nothing against your part, it was great for story purposes, but in terms of music, it's not really a bop, I'm gonna be honest with you. And the final song we have here is House of Asmodeus. God, the song, the music, it's so catchy, and it really, like, it shows off Asmodeus and Fissurali and the Lost Ring and the taboo of Millie and Moxie. It's so great. It's so much good stuff with the song. It makes me just, it's such a great thing to listen to sometimes. And that's the double factor of the song. It's great to listen to off thing as well. Like you could listen to this away from the show and it would still be great to listen to. So yeah, it's a true bop. It's a true bop. Above Murder Professionals? No, it's not above the Murder Professionals. It's just a bop up there with the Murder Officials. So there you have it. This is my official ranking of all the songs, and yes, I will put Vacate to Bone Town above Absolutely Terrible, but Vacate of Bone Town is not, it's not good. It's not good. If you want me to go into further detail, no, I won't. I just don't like that song. It's not anything else than that. But yeah, that's my ranking, and on to the conclusion of this review. And here we are at the conclusion. So, what do I think of Helluva Boss episode 5 to 7? As I already said, an absolute perfect finale for this show. As I couldn't really understand or fathom how they would end this season, I was truly in shock and just bewildered how they ended it. It was amazing. Again, as I said, Vivzy, it may not have been the two-parter we were all waiting for and that you were expecting, but I will say that, just as it is now, it's perfectly fine. Ending it on part 1 is perfect. I would say it actually might be the preferred way to do it instead of having a two-parter that, as I've heard, was not even going to be fully within lore, which is going to be this offshoot of the finale thing, which would not be the best. So I think that ending it here on part 1 was the best decision possible. And now, as the final part of this review, I will give you my final thoughts on the whole season as a whole. Season 1 of Helluva Boss will get the rating of 7 out of 10. And with that, that finally brings us at the end of this review, and the end for now. As it is now, I have decided that I will take a break from doing reviews. I don't know when I'm going to continue doing so. I love doing reviews, but I will have to take a break for it as of now. So, inaccurate reviews are going to go on pause for a while. But that does not mean that this is the end for me. I will continue to upload more shorter, more fun content, and inaccurate reviews, for those that are still interested in that, will return eventually. And I will tell you right now, for when I return, I've already picked the show I'm going to review next. The show I'm going to review next will be